After 75, your body declines fast. Spot these 6 signs before it's too late. Have you ever woken up, looked in the mirror, and thought, when did I start feeling so much older? Maybe your joints creak a little more than they used to, or your memory slips just enough to make you pause mid-sentence. Maybe you used to walk up the stairs without a second thought, and now you need to hold the railing. If any of that sounds familiar, let me tell you, you're not alone. Aging has its own rhythm. It starts off gentle, then one day it feels like someone pressed fast forward. Especially after the age of 75, changes in our bodies can sneak up on us. And if we're not paying attention, those changes can pile up and start to steal the best parts of our lives, our energy, our independence, and even our sharp minds. But here's the truth, while some decline is natural, rapid decline is not. And recognizing the early signs can make all the difference in staying strong, sharp, and vibrant well into your golden years. So today, we're having an honest heart-to-heart about what really happens to our bodies after 75. We'll talk about 6 warning signs that might mean you're losing muscle, memory, or time, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Because no matter your age, there's always something you can do to take back control. Let's dive in together. Now, let me ask you something personal. Have you noticed yourself getting weaker, even though you haven't changed much in your daily routine? Maybe a grocery bag feels heavier than it used to, or standing up from a chair takes just a little more effort. That, my friend, could be the first warning sign: muscle loss. It happens so slowly, most people don't even realize it's happening, until one day, it's hard to open a jar or carry the laundry upstairs. The medical term for this is sarcopenia, but let's not get caught up in the fancy names. What matters is this: by age 75, many people are already losing up to 15% of their muscle mass every decade. And without intervention, that number only goes up. Why does this matter? Because muscle isn't just about strength. It's about balance, mobility, metabolism, and even independence. When you lose muscle, your risk of fall skyrockets. And a fall at this age? That's not just a bruise, it can be the start of a long decline you didn't see coming. But don't let that scare you, because the solution is surprisingly simple. You don't need to lift heavy weights or join a gym if that's not your thing. Even light strength exercises at home, done consistently, can rebuild what you've lost. A few minutes a day with resistance bands, bodyweight squats using a chair, or light dumbbells can work wonders. The trick is consistency. And if you're unsure where to start, talk to your doctor or a physical therapist who understands the needs of older adults. It's never too late to regain strength. Never. Now, let's talk about something that's a little harder to notice, but just as important. Ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in? Or had trouble remembering someone's name, even though you know it? That could be a normal memory lapse, or it could be the second warning sign: early cognitive decline. The mind is a muscle too, in a way. And like any muscle, if you don't use it, it starts to weaken. But here's the good news: your brain is more adaptable than you think. Even after 75, it's still capable of forming new connections and staying sharp, as long as you give it the right fuel and stimulation. One of the biggest culprits in memory loss isn't just age, it's a lack of mental stimulation. Watching TV for hours each day or falling into repetitive routines can dull the brain over time. What keeps it young is novelty. Learning new things. Engaging in meaningful conversations. Solving puzzles. Reading books. Trying new skills. Even something as simple as switching up your daily walk or learning a new recipe can spark brain activity. But there's more. Your diet plays a major role too. The brain thrives on omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds. And hydration, don't underestimate it. Even mild dehydration can make you feel foggy and slow. So keep that water bottle nearby. Most importantly, don't isolate. Social interaction is one of the most powerful brain boosters out there. Loneliness shrinks the brain over time, while connection, whether with friends, grandkids, neighbors, or even friendly folks at the coffee shop, helps keep your mind alive and engaged. Let me tell you about my friend Harold. He's 82, retired, and used to spend his days watching reruns and napping in the afternoon. Over time, he started forgetting appointments, misplacing things, and feeling like he just wasn't himself. His daughter encouraged him to start attending a local art class. At first, he resisted. He'd never painted a day in his life. But eventually, he went. Now, he's there every week, painting with more joy than he's felt in years. And guess what? His memory has improved, too. Not because of magic, because he challenged his brain, stayed social, and gave himself something new to love. So if you felt a little slower, a little foggier, don't panic. Just start small. Read a book. Call an old friend. Do a crossword puzzle. Learn a psalm on the piano. Whatever keeps your mind curious, do more of that. And as we move forward, there's one more subtle sign I want you to look out for, something that many people overlook, even though it can signal that time might be slipping by faster than it should, and that sign is slowed walking speed. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, of course I walk slower, I'm not 30 anymore. And yes, that's true. Slowing down a little with age is normal. But when your walking speed drops more than expected, especially over a short period of time, it's not just about your legs, it's a message from your body. Think of your walking speed like a snapshot of your overall health. Studies have shown that people over 75 who suddenly start walking more slowly than before, especially without an injury or clear reason, are more likely to be experiencing underlying issues, like muscle weakness, poor balance, declining heart health, or even early neurological changes. Here's a simple test you can try at home. Time yourself walking about 10 feet at your normal pace. If it takes you longer than 6 or 7 seconds, that might be your body's gentle nudge that it's time to check in, not panic, but pay attention. Because how we move through the world is directly tied to how we live in it. When walking becomes more difficult, people naturally start doing less, fewer errands, fewer visits with friends, fewer outings. And that little bit of withdrawal? It can snowball. But here's the silver lining: walking speed can absolutely be improved. Even just walking a bit more each day, focusing on posture, and doing exercises that strengthen your hips, core, and legs can make a real difference. Balance exercises, like standing on one foot while holding onto a chair, or gentle Tai Chi routines, can also work wonders. And don't underestimate the power of good shoes and a walking stick if you need one. There's no shame in using tools that help you move confidently. It's all about keeping you mobile, independent, and safe. Now, as we're talking about how we move, let's shift our attention inward a little bit. This next warning sign is one that many people brush off until it becomes something they can't ignore. I'm talking about chronic fatigue. Not just being tired after a long day, but that kind of deep, nagging exhaustion that doesn't seem to go away, no matter how much you rest. You might find yourself sitting more, dozing off during the day, or feeling like the energy you used to rely on just isn't there anymore. And let me be clear, this isn't about laziness. This is your body trying to conserve its limited resources. Fatigue like this can signal that your heart isn't pumping quite as efficiently, or that your lungs aren't bringing in quite enough oxygen. Sometimes it's related to poor sleep, medications, or even nutrition. But often, it's a combination of things, and it's a big red flag that your body's systems might be slowing down more than they should. So what can you do about it? First, talk to your doctor. Fatigue shouldn't be something you just live with, it's a symptom worth investigating. Then, take a look at your routine. Are you eating enough protein to fuel your body? Staying hydrated? Getting gentle movement every day, even if it's just walking around the house or doing stretches in the morning? Sometimes, adding a short walk after breakfast or sitting by a sunny window in the afternoon can recharge your batteries more than you'd expect. And if your nights are restless, if you wake up frequently or don't feel rested, don't just shrug it off. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. Poor sleep over time can drain you mentally and physically. There's also something else that can quietly sap your energy without you realizing it, and that's emotional weight. Feelings of loneliness, grief, or boredom can show up as physical exhaustion. That's why staying engaged with life, connecting with people, and having something to look forward to are just as important as vitamins and exercise. Your emotional health and your physical health are deeply connected. Which brings me to something very close to my heart: withdrawal from daily life. This might be the most subtle warning sign of all, but it's often the most telling. You used to enjoy certain things, maybe gardening, playing cards with friends, going to the store just to browse, and slowly, without even realizing it, you stop. You cancel plans more often. You don't feel like chatting on the phone. You think, it's just easier to stay in today. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying your own company. But if you find yourself pulling away from things that used to bring you joy, it's time to check in with yourself. Because this kind of quiet retreat from life can signal depression, cognitive decline, or a loss of confidence in your body. And when we stop engaging with the world, our muscles weaken, our minds slow down, and our sense of time blurs. The beautiful part? You can always step back in. Even if it's just little things. Saying yes to lunch with a neighbor. Going for a short walk around the block. Reaching out to your children or grandkids for a video call. Picking up an old hobby, or trying a new one. You don't need to do everything all at once, you just need to take that first step. Let me share a quick story. There was a woman named Betty, 79 years old, who loved singing when she was younger. But after her husband passed, she stopped. One day, her daughter convinced her to go to a community choir event. Just to watch. She ended up joining. That choir became her anchor. It gave her energy, a reason to dress up, a way to make new friends. She said later, "It made me feel like myself again." That's what re-engaging with life can do. It gives us back the parts we thought we'd lost. So if you've been feeling a little more tired, a little slower, a little less connected, know that you're not broken. You're not alone. And it's not too late. There are small, meaningful steps you can take every day to turn things around. The human body, even in its 70s, 80s, and 90s, is far more resilient than we give it credit for. Let's keep going, because there's still one more sign to talk about, one that often gets overlooked but may be the most important of all, and that final sign is something many people feel but rarely talk about out loud: a shrinking sense of purpose. It can be subtle. Maybe you feel like the days are starting to blur together, or you're not quite sure what you're waking up for. You've worked hard your whole life, raised your family, contributed to your community, and now, you're in this quieter chapter, wondering, what now? That feeling, that quiet loss of direction, can slowly erode your motivation, your energy, and even your health. It's not just emotional, it's physical, too. Studies have shown that having a sense of purpose can actually improve your immune system, lower your risk of heart disease, and even help you live longer. And the opposite? Feeling like you're just drifting through your days can lead to faster cognitive decline, increased risk of depression, and a greater chance of developing chronic illness. But here's what I want you to hear loud and clear: your purpose doesn't retire when you do. It simply shifts. It grows with you. Maybe you're not clocking in at a job anymore or caring for young children, but that doesn't mean you're done making an impact. In fact, your presence, your wisdom, your story, they matter now more than ever. Sometimes, purpose comes from the smallest things. Helping your neighbor take out their trash. Writing letters to your grandchildren. Starting a new hobby you always said you'd try one day. Volunteering at a local shelter, or even just offering a listening ear to someone who needs it. These little actions create a rhythm, a reason to move forward. A reason to get dressed, to get moving, to keep learning. Let me tell you about George. George is 85 and lives alone since his wife passed a few years ago. For a while, he felt stuck. He'd sit by the window, watching the world pass by. One day, he decided to buy a small bird feeder. That bird feeder led him to learning about different species, which led him to a local birdwatching group. Now, every week, George meets with that group, swaps stories, and shares his notes. He says, it gave me something to care about again. Something that gets me outside, keeps me curious. That's purpose. That's what keeps you alive, not just in body, but in spirit. So if you've been feeling like you're just coasting through your days, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what brings me joy? What sparks my curiosity? Who can I help today, even in a small way? It doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to matter to you. And now, as we look back on everything we've talked about, the signs of muscle loss, cognitive decline, slowed walking, chronic fatigue, social withdrawal, and that quiet loss of purpose, I want to remind you of something important. These signs aren't reasons to feel discouraged. They're signals. Signals from your body and your spirit, telling you that something needs attention. Not because you failed, but because you still can do something about it. You see, aging isn't about giving up, it's about adapting. About finding new ways to nourish your body, challenge your mind, and fill your days with connection and meaning. It's never too late to build strength, to sharpen your memory, to move with confidence again. And it's certainly never too late to rediscover joy. I know it's not always easy. Some days are harder than others. But every small change you make matters. Every time you choose to move your body, feed it well, laugh with a friend, or do something kind for someone else, you are actively slowing down that decline. You are taking back your time. So let this video be your gentle wake-up call. Not out of fear, but out of hope. Because there is still so much life left to live, and your best days aren't behind you. They're right here, waiting for you to reach out and grab them. Maybe today, you'll do a few gentle stretches while your coffee brews. Maybe you'll call that old friend you've been thinking about. Maybe you'll dig out that old harmonica, or try out that community art class you've been curious about. Whatever it is, do it with your whole heart. Because these moments, they matter. And hey, if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What changes have you noticed in your body or mind recently? What have you done to stay strong and engaged? You never know who your story might inspire. And if you found this helpful, please take a moment to click that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here, one that celebrates aging with strength, with wisdom, and with joy. I want you to be part of that. Because this isn't the end of the road. It's a new chapter. And you get to write it, one vibrant, purposeful day at a time. Here's to living your best life, at any age.